So thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, I agree with you. I think the independence of the Fed is absolutely paramount. But we cannot ignore the elephant in the room, and that is that President Trump has launched an all-out assault on the independence of the Federal Reserve. Dr. Miran has said that, quote, to pretend that one can easily shift between highly political and allegedly non-political roles without letting political biases inform policy is at best naive and at worst sinister. So that's what you're about to do, go from a highly political role to a non-political role. And since you describe how you'll be informed by your political biases, I think the American people have a right to understand just how independent you are or are not. So let's measure that a little bit. Dr. Miran, let's start with an easy question to show that you have some independence from the president. Easy yes or no. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election?
Probably have to
No, it's a yes or no.
Microphone on, please.
Hold the microphone.
Come on, and the chair is going to be tough on time. I just need a yes or no. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 presidential election?
Thank you, Senator Warren. Joe Biden was certified by Congress as the president of the United States.
Right. So did Donald Trump lose that election?
As I just said, Joe Biden was certified by the Congress.
Did Donald Trump lose that election? Can you say the words Donald Trump lost that election? Are you independent enough to say that?
The Congress certified Joe Biden as president
All
of the United
right,
States.
so that was one. Let's try another. Let me ask you another question here. The Federal Reserve relies on accurate and unbiased data to make monetary policy, including data produced by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. President Trump recently fired the BLS commissioner, alleging that she, quote, faked the jobs numbers before the election to try and boost Kamala's chances of victory. Do you agree with President Trump that the BLS published fake numbers to manipulate the outcome of the 2024 presidential election?
Thank you for the question, Ranking Member Warren. Look, the data quality from the Bureau of
That's
Labor
not the
Statistics—
question about the data quality. Did, as President Trump said, the BLS publish fake numbers to manipulate the outcome of the 2024 presidential election? This is what President Trump said. Is he right? You're the head of the Council of Economic Advisors.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics data on various measures has deteriorated steadily in quality over time.
I understand that you may have questions about the data quality, but I want to remind you that when the data seemed to show that Donald Trump's jobs numbers were doing well, I didn't hear you say a single word about problems with data quality. The only time you started questioning data quality was when the numbers started showing that Trump's economy was headed in the wrong direction. So let me ask you the question for the third time. We want to understand your independence. Donald Trump stated that the BLS faked the job numbers before the election to try and boost Kamala's chances of victory. Do you agree with that, yes or no?
The Bureau of Labor Statistics did not take corrective action to improve the quality of steadily
Do you
deteriorating
agree
data.
with the statement that they faked numbers?
I believe that they were complacently allowing the data to continue
Do you
to
have
deteriorate
any
in quality.
evidence that they faked numbers?
Well, as I said moments ago, the data have steadily deteriorated in quality, and I'm happy
Okay,
to
in
give some
other
examples
words, just
of how
two
that happened.
straightforward questions about your independence, and you've blown both of them. So let's shift to the inflation caused by President's economic policies, which you've had a key role in designing. You've claimed, for example, that consumers thus far have not seen any material macroeconomic increase from tariffs at all. Your statement. The numbers do not back you up. Since January, cost of groceries is up, cost of utilities is up, cost of housing is up, cost of back-to-school shoes is up, cost of backpacks and baby strollers up. Dr. Miran, the data say that costs for basic necessities are going up. But it's not just the reported numbers. Fed Governor Waller, who President Trump appointed, private sector forecasters, small businesses, and families are all telling us that the costs are up. Do you think those families and data experts are lying?
Senator, thank you for the question. I believe your question is conflating relative price increases with inflation, which is an increase in the aggregate price level. There has been no detectable increase in the aggregate price level as a result of tariffs.
You know,
there have
Dr.
been relative
Miran,
price changes,
you
as
have
there
made
always are.
clear that you will do or say whatever Donald Trump wants you to do or say, and that may work in a political position, but it takes an axe to Fed independence and will make life far more expensive for American families. I apologize for going over.
What we just watched was Senator Elizabeth Warren holding Donald Trump's Federal Reserve nominee, Dr. Miran, to the fire with two of the simplest, most straightforward questions anyone could ask. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? And did the Bureau of Labor Statistics fake job numbers, as Trump himself claimed? Those are not trick questions, they are factual questions. Yet instead of answering directly, Miran danced around them, dodged, and retreated into safe technical language. He could not bring himself to say the most basic truth: Trump lost the election. He could not bring himself to say that the Bureau of Labor Statistics did not fake data. And this is not just about one man's discomfort in front of a Senate committee. It's about the independence of the Federal Reserve, one of the most powerful institutions in the world. The Fed sets interest rates, it manages inflation, it steers the stability of the U.S. economy. Its decisions touch every family, whether you're paying off student loans, buying a home, or just trying to stretch your grocery budget. The only reason the Fed has that power is because it is supposed to be independent from partisan politics. People have to trust that when it makes a decision, it's based on data, not party loyalty. But Warren's questioning showed us something dangerous. If a nominee cannot even acknowledge basic facts, then how can we trust him to act independently once he's inside the Fed? If he's too afraid to say Trump lost an election, how can we expect him to stand up to Trump if he tries to pressure the Fed into cutting rates to boost his re-election chances? If he won't deny wild conspiracy theories about fake job numbers, how can we be confident he'll defend the integrity of economic data? The independence of the Fed is not just a principle, it's a safeguard for the economy and for democracy. And what Warren exposed is that Trump is not interested in independence. He wants loyalty. This isn't an isolated pattern. We've seen it before. Whether it's the Justice Department, the intelligence community, or now the Federal Reserve, Trump's strategy is clear. Install loyalists who will bend the facts, downplay inconvenient truths, and put him above the institutions they're supposed to serve. That is how democracy erodes, not in one dramatic moment, but through steady corrosion where truth itself becomes negotiable. Warren's questions also highlight something every American should understand. Attacks on data, whether it's about job numbers, inflation, or election results, are not harmless. They weaken public trust. They make people doubt what's real and what's not. And when people lose trust in institutions like the Bureau of Labor Statistics or the Federal Reserve, the whole system starts to wobble. Businesses can't plan, markets panic, families lose confidence. The costs are real and they're felt in everyday life, in your rent, your credit card bill, your paycheck. So yes, this exchange may have looked like Warren being tough on a nominee, but it was about far more than one man's answers. It was about whether truth still matters in American governance. It was about whether the Federal Reserve can stay independent in the face of political pressure. And it was about the kind of leadership we should demand from people entrusted with enormous economic power. At the end of the day, Warren made it clear, independence is not optional. Truth is not optional, and when nominees cannot pass even the simplest tests of honesty, they are not fit to serve. If you care about protecting the integrity of American institutions, if you care about an economy that works for families instead of serving political agendas, then pay attention to moments like this. Share them, talk about them, because democracy doesn't just survive on elections, it survives on truth, accountability, and leaders willing to stand up when it matters most.